Haven was more than a colony. It was a dream made real. Inside the hollowed asteroid, humans had built a city. There were farms growing food under artificial sunlight. There were factories building ships and technology. There were schools teaching children who had never known slavery or discrimination. There were hospitals and laboratories and research centers. Commander Park Yunbai met them personally at the landing platform. She was a small woman with gray hair and eyes that had seen too much pain and too much hope. She had founded Haven 20 years ago with just 3 ships and a tazida, handful of believers. Now she led a fleet of hundreds. "We've been watching you," she told Tahoe and Vile. "Ever since the news started spreading about a pregnant Draconite carrying a human hybrid. The whole galaxy is talking about you." Vale placed a protective hand on her stomach. "Are we safe here?" "Safer than anywhere else," Commander Park replied. "Haven is hidden behind layers of defenses and false trails. No one has ever found us. No one ever will." They were given comfortable quarters, real quarters, with space and light and warmth. Su Yan continued to monitor Vale's pregnancy. The twins were growing strong. Every scan showed healthy babies with features from both parents. "They will have their father's hair," Su Yan reported with a smile. "Dark and thick, but their eyes will be golden like their mother's." Vale and Tahoe spent their days exploring Haven. They saw humans working alongside members of other species. Not many aliens lived here, but those who did were welcomed as equals. A small group of Draconite exiles had even found refuge in Haven. They were outcasts from their own society, rejected for various reasons. When they saw Vale's pregnant belly, they wept. "Hope," an old Draconite female whispered. She was ancient. Her scales faded to gray. "You carry hope in your womb." Hope for all of us who were told we were worthless. Vale took the old female's hands. "You are not worthless. None of us are." The weeks passed. Vale grew larger. The twins kicked and moved inside her. At night, Tahoe would press his ear against her stomach and talk to his children. He told them stories about Earth, the human homeworld he had never seen. He told them about the stars he wanted to show them. He told them how much they were loved. Finally, the day came. Vale went into labor in the medical center of Haven. Su Yan led a team of doctors, both human and alien. Tahoe stayed by Vale's side, holding her hand as she pushed. The birth was hard. Draconite children were larger than human babies. But Vale was a warrior. She had faced armies. She had survived slavery. She would survive this too. After 6 hours of labor, the first cry filled the room. A boy. He had dark hair like his father and golden eyes like his mother. His skin was human, but tiny scales dotted his shoulders and back. He was beautiful. 3 minutes later, his sister arrived. She was smaller but louder. Her cry echoed through the medical center like a song. She had the same mix of features, the same impossible beauty. Tahoe held his son. Vale held her daughter. They looked at each other with tears streaming down their faces. "We did it," Vale whispered. "They are real. They are alive. They are perfect," Tahoe said. "Absolutely perfect." They named the boy Hanjil, which meant one path in the old Korean language. They named the girl Silhe, which meant snowlight. 2 names for 2 children who would light the way for others to follow. The news could not be contained. Within days, everyone on Haven knew about the twins. Within weeks, the information spread beyond the colony. Ships carried the story to every corner of the galaxy. A human and a Draconite had produced children. The impossible had become possible. The reaction was immediate and overwhelming. First came the scientists. They sent messages begging for samples, data, anything that could help them understand what had happened. Su Yan shared her research freely. Knowing that the information could save countless lives, then came the desperate. Representatives from a dozen dying species arrived in Haven's borders. Their populations were shrinking. Their children were few. They had heard rumors that humans might be the answer. They came to beg for help. Commander Park organized meetings. The representatives were brought to Haven under strict security. They saw the twins with their own eyes. They met Tahoe and Vale. They heard the story of how a cleaner spent 1 credit on a sterile dragon lady and changed the course of history. "We will help you," Commander Park told them. "All of you, but not as masters, not as saviors, as partners, as equals." Some species agreed immediately. Others hesitated. The hegemony's genetics division demanded exclusive rights to human genetic material. They were refused and left in anger. The slavers who had once traded humans like cattle found themselves suddenly facing a very different reality. Humans were no longer worthless. Humans were precious. But the greatest challenge came from the Draconi Pureblood Council. They sent their own ambassador to Haven, not to attack, but to negotiate. Their position had become impossible. If humans could save their species, refusing help meant choosing extinction. The ambassador was an ancient female named Lady Corvan. She was from Vale's own family, the same family that had disowned her and sold her into slavery. Vale met her grandmother with cold eyes. "You threw me away," Vale said. "You called me worthless. You would have let me die." Lady Corvan bowed her head. It was a gesture her species had not performed in 10,000 years. A gesture of submission. A gesture of shame. "We were wrong," the old female said. "We were fools clinging to traditions that were killing us. I am sorry. I am truly sorry." Vale looked at this powerful being kneeling before her. A year ago, she would have wanted revenge. She would have wanted to see her family suffer as she had suffered. But Vale was different now. She was a mother. She had learned what really mattered. "Rise," she said. "The past is the past. We must look to the future." Lady Corvan rose slowly. Her old eyes were wet with tears. "What must we do to earn your forgiveness? What must we do to save our people?" Tahoe stepped forward. In his arms was Hanjil. Beside him, a nurse held Seal-He. "You do not need to earn anything," Tahoe said. "You just need to change. Open your society. Welcome others. Stop judging worth by blood and tradition. Start judging by character and kindness." He looked at the assembled aliens, the representatives of dying species, the leaders of worlds, the powerful beings who had once looked down on humanity. "Humans are not better than you," he continued. "We are not stronger or smarter or more advanced. We just refuse to give up. We keep going when others stop. We find hope when others see only darkness. That is our gift, and we want to share it." He held up his son, the baby boy with human skin and dragon eyes. "This child is proof that differences do not have to divide us. They can unite us. They can make us stronger together than we ever were apart." Commander Park stepped forward. "Haven will become a center for cooperation. Any species that wants our help can have it. We ask only for respect and partnership in return. No more slavery. No more discrimination. No more treating others as less than equals." The representatives looked at each other. Some nodded immediately. Others needed time to think. But none refused outright. The evidence was too clear. The future was too important. One by one, they agreed that the galaxy was changing. After the meetings ended, Tahoe and Vale stood on an observation deck overlooking Haven. Their children slept peacefully in their arms. Below, humans and aliens were already working together, planning a new era of cooperation. "You did it," Vale said softly. "You changed everything." Tahoe shook his head. "We did it. Together. I could not have done anything without you. Vale leaned against him, careful not to wake the babies. What do we do now? Taeho smiled. It was the same smile he had worn on the day they met. The smile of a dreamer who never stopped believing. I made you a promise once. A small ship. The stars. Vale remembered. That foolish, beautiful dream. You still want that? More than ever. He looked at their children. But now we have 2 more passengers. If you do not mind. Vale laughed. It was a real laugh, full of joy and love and hope. I did not mind at all. 6 months later, a small ship left haven. It was not fancy. It was not fast. But it was theirs. They had earned every piece of it. Taeho sat at the controls. Vale sat beside him, the twins secure in special seats behind them. Through the front window, the universe stretched out in all its infinite glory. Where to first? Vale asked. Tae-ho thought about it. There were so many places to see. So many wonders waiting to be discovered. A lifetime would not be enough, but they had to start somewhere. Forward, he said. Always forward. He pushed the controls. The ship moved into the darkness between stars. Behind them, the galaxy was waking up to a new reality. Humans were no longer the weakest species. They were the bridge between dying worlds and living futures. They were the key that opened impossible doors, and it all started with a cleaner who paid 1 credit. For a dragon lady that nobody wanted. 1 credit. 1 act of kindness. 1 choice to see worth where others saw nothing. That was all it took to change everything. The ship flew on, carrying a family of 4 into the unknown, and somewhere in the vast darkness of space, new stars were being born. Just like hope. Just like love. Just like the future that Taeho and Vale had created together. Forever and always. The secret lasted exactly 23 days. Su Yian had been careful. She destroyed all digital records of her scans. She never spoke of Vale's pregnancy to anyone. She visited the small quarters only in the dead of night, using hidden paths through the station. But someone talked. Maybe a sensor picked up the unusual readings. Maybe a spy was watching. Nobody ever found out who betrayed them. Tae-ho came home from work one evening and found Vale standing in the middle of the room. Her scales were dark with tension. Her golden eyes were fixed on the door. They are coming, she said. I can smell them. 4, maybe 5, armed. Taeho did not hesitate. He grabbed the emergency bag they had prepared. Inside were credits, food, and the medical supplies Su Yian had given them. The back way, he said. Through the maintenance tunnels. They moved fast. Vale was 6 weeks pregnant now, but she was still a warrior. She ran through the narrow tunnels with Taeho close behind. Behind them, they heard shouts. Then gunfire. The hunters were shooting blindly into the darkness. The tunnels opened into a cargo bay filled with old shipping containers. Taeho and Vale hid between the metal boxes, trying to catch their breath. Who are they? Taeho whispered. Drake and I, Vale replied. Her voice was cold. I recognized their smell. They are from the Pure Blood Council, the most traditional faction of my people. She looked at Taeho with hard eyes. They consider hybrids an abomination. They would rather let our species die than mix blood with others. Taeho felt anger rise in his chest. They would kill their own people? Kill a baby? To preserve purity. Yes, without hesitation. They stayed hidden for hours. The Draconai hunters searched the cargo bay twice, but did not find them. Finally, the sounds faded. The hunters moved to other parts of the station. Taeho and Vale crept out of their hiding place. They made their way to a communication terminal hidden in the lower levels. Taeho sent a coded message to Su Yian. The doctor replied within minutes. Her message was short and urgent. Not safe here. Meet at Docking Bay 7. I have arranged transport. They moved through the station like ghosts. Vale's warrior training came back naturally. She spotted dangers before they appeared. She guided Tejo through dark corridors and forgotten passages. Twice they had to hide from patrol drones. Once they nearly walked into a group of mercenaries. When they reached Docking Bay 7, Su Yian was waiting for them. She was not alone. Beside her stood a tall woman with short black hair and a cybernetic eye. She wore a mercenary's uniform covered in patches and medals. "This is Yun Jihan," Su Yian said quickly. "She is a friend. She will help you escape." Jihan looked at Tejo and Vale with her one human eye. Her cybernetic eye scanned them, making clicking sounds. "So you are the ones causing all the trouble," she said. A small smile crossed her face. "A human cleaner and a pregnant dragon. The galaxy really has gone crazy. Can you help us?" Tejo asked. "That is why I am here." Jihan pointed to a ship parked at the end of the bay. It was old and covered in rust, but it looked fast. "My ship, the Silent Dawn. She does not look like much, but she can outrun anything short of a military cruiser." "Why are you helping us?" Vale asked. Her eyes were suspicious. "What do you want?" Jihan's smile faded. Her face became serious. "I am part of a network. Humans who are tired of being treated like trash by the rest of the galaxy. We help each other. We prepare for the day when we will be respected, not pitied." She looked at Vale's stomach. "What is inside you could change everything. If humans can help dying species reproduce, we become valuable. We become necessary. We become equals." Tejo understood. This was not just about saving his family. This was about the future of all humanity. "Let us go then," he said. They boarded the Silent Dawn. The crew was small but professional. 2 humans and 1 alien who owed Jihan his life. They treated Vale with respect, giving her the best quarters on the ship dot as the Silent Dawn lifted off from Korak 7. Tejo stood at a window and watched the station grow smaller. He had lived there for 10 years. It was the closest thing to home he had ever known. Now it was disappearing into the darkness of space. Vale came to stand beside him. She took his hand. "No regrets?" she asked. "None? You?" She touched her stomach with her free hand. "How could I have regrets? I am carrying the impossible." The ship jumped to faster than light speed. Stars became lines of light. They were running now. Running for their lives. Running for their future. But the hunt was just beginning. Over the next 3 weeks, they were attacked 5 times. The Draconite Pureblood Council sent assassins twice. The Hegemony's Genetics Division sent capture teams twice. The 5th attack came from independent slavers who had heard rumors of a valuable hybrid. Each time, they barely escaped. Tejo proved himself useful in ways nobody expected. He could fix any broken machine. He could negotiate with smugglers. He could read star maps and find hidden paths through dangerous space. When they ran out of fuel in a dead system, he figured out how to convert cargo into emergency power. "How do you do it?" Jihan asked him one night. They were hiding in an asteroid field, waiting for enemy ships to pass. "You have no training, no special skills, but you solve problems that would stop anyone else." Tejo shrugged. "I was a cleaner. Every day I faced problems that seemed impossible. Machines that should not be fixed. Messes that should not be cleaned. I learned that impossible just means no one has tried hard enough yet." Jihan laughed. It was a real laugh, full of warmth. Humans really are something special. We just never believed it ourselves. Vale's pregnancy progressed. Su Yian, who had joined them on the ship, monitored her carefully. The babies were healthy. Yes, babies. The scans showed twins, a boy and a girl. They have their father's strong heart, Su Yian reported, and their mother's fire. These children will be extraordinary. Vale glowed with happiness. But worry never left her eyes. They were still being hunted. Every day brought new danger. The worst attack came near the border of hegemony space. 3 warships surrounded the Silent Dawn. There was no escape. No clever trick could save them this time. Ji Haiyan prepared to fight. Her crew armed themselves with whatever weapons they had. Vale stood ready, though Taeho begged her to stay in the safe room. "I am a warrior," she said. "I will not hide while others fight for me." But before the battle could begin, something unexpected happened. A fleet of ships appeared from nowhere. 12 vessels, all flying the same strange flag. They positioned themselves between the Silent Dawn and the enemy warships. A message came through the communication system. A woman's voice, calm and strong. "This is Commander Park Yunbai of the Human Liberation Fleet. The people aboard that ship are under our protection. Leave now or be destroyed." The hegemony warships hesitated. Then, slowly, they turned and retreated. The Human Liberation Fleet did not fire a single shot. Jihan was stunned. "I knew the network was growing, but this... I did not know we had a fleet." The commander's voice came again. "Captain Yun, bring your ship to our coordinates. We will escort you to Haven." "Haven?" Taeho asked. Jihan's face lit up with something like wonder. "I thought it was a legend. A secret human colony. A place where we are building our own future." The Silent Dawn followed the fleet through several jump points, each one more hidden than the last. Finally, they arrived at their destination. It was a massive asteroid, hollowed out and filled with lights. Ships of all sizes floated around it, and the markings on those ships showed they came from every corner of the galaxy. "Welcome to Haven," Commander Park's voice said. "Welcome home." Vale stared at the sight before her. Thousands of humans living free, building, growing, preparing. "Your people," she said to Taeho. "They have been busy." Taeho nodded. He felt something he had never felt before. Pride, not just for himself, but for all of humanity. "We have been waiting," he said softly. "Waiting for the right moment to show the galaxy who we really are." Vale squeezed his hand. Her pregnancy had entered the final weeks. Soon, their children would be born. The first hybrid children in galactic history. "Then let us give them something to see," she said. The Silent Dawn descended toward Haven. Below, thousands of humans looked up at the arriving ship. They did not know yet what miracle it carried, but they would know soon. The whole galaxy would know soon, and nothing would ever be the same again. Taeho's quarters were small, very small. It was one room with a bed, a tiny kitchen area, and a bathroom that barely fit one person. The walls were gray metal. The only window showed the black emptiness of space. Vale had to bend her head to fit through the door. Her horns almost scratched the ceiling. She looked around the room with her golden eyes and said nothing. Her face was like stone. "It is not much," Taeho said. He felt embarrassed. A warrior from a great house was now standing in a cleaner's tiny room. "But it is safe. Nobody bothers me here." Vale still said nothing. She stood in the corner, her arms crossed, her tail wrapped tight around her legs. She was waiting to see what this human would do to her. Taeho understood. He had seen that look before. The look of someone expecting the worst. He went to the small kitchen and opened his food storage. There was not much inside. Some protein bars, some dried vegetables, a container of rice. He divided everything into 2 equal portions and put one on a plate. "Here," he said, holding the plate out to her. "You must be hungry." Vale looked at the food. Then she looked at him. You are feeding me your own food? We share now. I do not have much, but what I have is yours too. She did not take the plate. What do you want from me, human? My name is Taeho, Kim Taeho, and I do not want anything from you. Everyone wants something. My previous owners wanted labor. They wanted a trophy to show their friends. They wanted. She stopped. Her jaw tightened. What do you want? Taeho put the plate on the small table. I want you to eat. I want you to rest. That is all. He turned away and started preparing his own small meal. Behind him, he heard nothing for a long time. Then, finally, the sound of the plate being picked up. The first few weeks were hard. Vale barely spoke. She stayed in the corner of the room like a statue. She slept sitting up, her back against the wall, always ready to fight. She ate the food Taeho gave her, but she never said thank you. Taeho did not push her. He went to work every day, cleaning the station's corridors and waste systems. When he came home, he would tell her about his day. Small things, funny things. A strange alien he met. A broken machine he fixed. She never responded, but she listened. On the fifth day, Taeho did something unexpected. He took out a small toolkit and sat in front of Vale. What are you doing? She asked. It was the first time she had spoken in 2 days. The collar, he said. I am going to remove it. Vale froze. The slave collar around her neck was more than just metal. It was a symbol. It marked her as property. Removing it was illegal. It could get them both killed. You cannot do that, she said. The station authorities will. The station authorities do not care about us, Taeho said. We are nothing to them. A cleaner and a sterile dragon. They will not even notice. He reached for her neck. Vale grabbed his wrist. Her grip was strong enough to break his bones. But she did not squeeze. She just held him there, staring into his eyes. Why? She asked again. It was the same question from the auction. Why do you treat me like this? Taeho met her gaze without fear. Because you are not property. You are a person. And every person deserves to be free. Something changed in Vale's golden eyes. The hardness cracked. Just a little. She released his wrist slowly. You are strange, human. Kim Taeho. I have been told that before. She tilted her head, exposing her neck. Remove it then. If you can. It took him 30 minutes. The collar was designed to be impossible to remove. But Taeho was good with machines. Years of fixing broken cleaning equipment had taught him many tricks. When the collar finally clicked open and fell to the floor, Vale touched her bare neck with trembling fingers. She had worn that collar for 3 years. Thank you, she whispered. It was the first time she had said those words since they met. Taeho smiled. You are welcome. After that night, things began to change. Vale started talking more. She told Taeho about her past, about House Corvan and the great halls where she grew up, about the Ember Legion and the battle she fought, about the day the doctors told her she could never have children. In Draconite society, females who cannot reproduce are considered useless, she said one night. They were sitting on the floor, sharing a meal. Taeho had given her his bed, and he slept on a thin mat nearby. My family disowned me. My legion expelled me. I had nothing left. So I was sold. That is cruel, Taeho said. That is our way. We are a dying race. Every female who cannot bear children is one more step toward extinction. She looked at her hands. I tried everything. The best doctors. The most advanced treatments. Nothing worked. My body is broken. You are not broken, Taeho said firmly. You are still you. Still strong. Still proud. Still alive. Vale looked at him for a long moment. You really believe that, do you not? I do. She almost smiled. Almost thought as the weeks passed, Tejo learned that Vale was more than a warrior. She was smart. She could read 6 languages. She knew the history of 100 worlds. She could calculate ship trajectories in her head. When Tejo told her about his dream of exploring space, she did not laugh. It is a good dream, she said. Foolish, but good. Everything worth doing is foolish, Tejo replied. One evening, Tejo came home late. His face was bruised. His lip was bleeding. His uniform was torn. Vale jumped to her feet. What happened? Tejo waved his hand. It is nothing. Some thugs in the lower corridors. They wanted my credits. Did they take them? No, I did not let them. Vale stared at him. He was small. He was weak. He had no weapons. Yet he had fought against station thugs and refused to give up. You are insane, she said. You could have been killed. They said some things about you, Tejo admitted. Bad things. I could not let them. Vale went still. You fought them. Because of me? You are my friend. People do not talk bad about my friends. Friend. The word hit Vale like a physical blow. When was the last time anyone called her a friend? She could not remember. She made him sit down. She cleaned his wounds carefully with water and cloth. Her large hands were surprisingly gentle. As she worked, she spoke quietly. You are a fool, Kinto. A complete fool, I know. You cannot fight. You cannot run fast. You have no natural weapons. I know that too. Then why do you never give up? Tejo smiled, even though it hurt his split lip. Humans do not know how to give up. It is our only gift. We just keep going. Keep trying. Keep hoping. Even when everything is against us. Vale finished cleaning his wounds. She sat back and looked at him. Really looked at him. Not as a master. Not as a human. Just as Tejo. I do not understand you, she said softly. That is okay. I do not understand myself sometimes. That night, Vale did not sleep in the corner. She lay down on the bed that Tejo had given her. And for the first time in years, she did not dream of battles and blood and shame. She dreamed of stars. She dreamed of a small ship flying through endless space. And in that ship, beside her was a foolish human cleaner who did not know how to give up. When she woke up, she found Tejo already preparing breakfast. He had bought real eggs from the market. It must have cost him a week of savings. Special day, he said with a grin. It has been 1 month since we met. Vale sat at the small table. She watched this strange human cook for her. She watched him hum a little song as he worked. She watched him smile like the universe was full of wonders, and she realized, with sudden clarity, that she did not want to leave. She did not want to escape. She wanted to stay here, in this tiny room, with this foolish human who saw her as more than a broken dragon. It was a terrifying feeling. It was also the most wonderful feeling she had known in years. Tao, she said. He turned to look at her. Yes, thank you. For everything? His smile grew wider. You are welcome, Vale, always. She looked away, hiding the strange warmth that filled her chest. Maybe, she thought, being a fool's problem was not so bad after all. 3 months had passed since the auction. The tiny quarters that once felt like a cage to Vale now felt like home. She no longer slept sitting up against the wall. She no longer watched the door with fear. She had learned to trust. She had learned to hope. And she had learned to love. It happened slowly, like sunrise. The way Tejo made her laugh with his silly jokes. The way he listened when she talked about her past. The way he looked at her with respect instead of pity. The way he never asked for anything but gave everything he had. One night, sitting close together in the small room, their hands touched. Neither of them pulled away. Vale looked into Tejo's eyes and saw no fear. Only warmth. Only acceptance. Only love. Is this okay? Tejo asked softly. His heart was beating so fast he thought it might burst. Yes, Vale whispered. It is okay. What happened that night was tender and strange and beautiful. A human and a dragon, two species from opposite ends of the galaxy, finding comfort in each other. Neither expected anything to come from it. Scientists across the galaxy had proven that humans and Draconii could never produce children. Their biology was too different. It was simply impossible, but the universe had different plans. 3 weeks later, Vale started feeling strange. At first, she thought she was sick. There was a warmth in her core that would not go away. Her senses became sharper. Colors looked brighter. Sounds became clearer. She felt hungry all the time, craving foods she had never wanted before. Something is wrong with me, she told Tejo one morning. She was sitting on the bed, her hand pressed against her stomach. I feel different. Tejo was worried. We should find a doctor. But doctors on Korak 7 were expensive. And most of them did not treat slaves, even freed ones. The few who did were criminals themselves, hiding from the law. Vale told him not to worry. It is probably nothing. Maybe I ate something bad. But the symptoms did not go away. They got stronger. Vale started having strange dreams. She saw children running in fields of golden grass. She saw a family sitting together under twin suns. She woke up from these dreams with tears in her eyes, though she did not know why. One day, while Tejo was at work, Vale felt a flutter in her stomach. It was small, like a tiny kick. She froze. Her hands flew to her belly. She pressed down gently, waiting. There it was again. A flutter. A movement impossible. Her heart started racing. Her mind screamed that it could not be true. She had been tested 100 times. She was sterile. The Galactic Fertility Institute had certified it. The best scientists in the universe had confirmed it. Yet she could feel something inside her. Something alive. When Tejo came home that evening, he found Vale sitting in the middle of the room. Her face was pale. Her hands were shaking. Vale? What is wrong? He rushed to her side, kneeling in front of her. Are you hurt? Are you sick? I need a doctor, she said. Her voice was trembling. I need a doctor now. Tejo did not ask questions. He grabbed his savings, everything he had collected over years of work, and went out into the station. He asked everyone he knew. He begged. He searched. Finally, an old friend told him about a woman in the lower levels. A human geneticist named Beek Su Yeon. She was hiding from corporate bounty hunters, but she still practiced medicine for those who needed help. Tae-Ho found her in a hidden clinic behind a recycling plant. Su Yeon was a small woman with tired eyes and quick hands. She listened to his story without expression, then agreed to come see Vale. When Su Yeon arrived at the quarters, she took one look at Vale, and her eyebrows went up. Draconii, she said. I have never treated one before. This will be interesting. She opened her medical bag and pulled out scanning equipment. Old equipment, but still functional. She ran the scanner over Vale's body slowly, watching the readings on her screen. The room was silent. Tejo held Vale's hand. Vale stared at the ceiling, afraid to hope. Su-Yeon finished the scan. She looked at the results. Then she looked again. Then she sat down heavily on the nearest chair. This is impossible, she whispered. What? Tejo and Vale asked at the same time. Su-Yeon turned the screen so they could see. You are pregnant. About 4 weeks along. The embryo is healthy and growing normally. The world stopped moving. Vale could not breathe. She could not think. Pregnant. She was pregnant. The word echoed in her mind like thunder. "That cannot be," she said. "I am sterile. I have documents. I have certificates. I cannot." "The tests do not lie," Su Yan said. She was staring at Vale with wide eyes. "You are carrying a child. A hybrid child. Half Draconite, half human." Taeho felt his legs go weak. He sat down on the floor, still holding Vale's hand. How? How is this possible?" Su Yan was quiet for a long moment. She ran more tests. She checked her equipment. She analyzed the data again and again. Finally, she spoke. "I think I understand," she said slowly. "But it sounds crazy." "Tell us," Vale demanded. Su Yan took a deep breath. "Human DNA is different from other species. Most aliens have rigid genetic codes. Very stable. Very pure. But humans..." She shook her head in wonder. "Human genes are messy, chaotic. They adapt to anything. They bond with anything. Scientists call it junk DNA, but it is not junk. It is a survival mechanism." She pulled up data on her screen. Humans evolved on a harsh planet. They had no claws, no armor, no psychic powers. So their bodies found another way to survive. Their cells became extremely adaptable, like a key that can open any lock. Vale stared at her. "You are saying that human DNA can fix my sterility?" "Not fix exactly. More like bypass it. Your Draconite genes became too rigid over thousands of years. Too pure. That is why your species is dying. But Taeho's human DNA found a way through. It bonded with your cells in a way that nobody thought possible." She looked at both of them with something like awe. The galaxy's greatest fertility clinics failed because they used advanced technology. They tried to force compatibility. But human biology does not force. It adapts. It merges. It finds a way. Taeho's mind was spinning. "So humans can help other species have children?" "Potentially, yes. Humans might be able to breed with species thought completely incompatible." Su Yan laughed, but it was a serious laugh. The weakest species in the galaxy might actually be the key to saving dozens of dying races, including the Draconite. Vale's hands went to her stomach. Inside her, a new life was growing. A child that should not exist. A miracle wrapped in scales and skin. Tears rolled down her face. Not tears of sadness. Tears of joy. "A baby," she whispered. "I am going to have a baby." Taeho moved closer. He wrapped his arms around her, careful and gentle. She leaned into him, her body shaking with sobs. "We are going to have a baby," he corrected her softly. "We, together." Su Yan watched them with a strange expression. She had seen many things in her years as a scientist. She had made many discoveries. But this was different. "I need to warn you," she said quietly. "This news cannot stay secret forever. When people find out about this, they will come for you. The Draconite will not accept a hybrid. The corporations will want to study you. Every faction in the galaxy will have an interest in this child." Vale wiped her tears. The warrior in her was waking up. "Let them come. I will kill anyone who tries to hurt my family." "Our family," Taeho said. He looked at Su Yan. "What should we do?" Su Yan thought for a moment. "Stay hidden for now. I will help you as much as I can. I will monitor the pregnancy and keep your secret." She paused. "But start making plans. When this child is born, the galaxy will change, whether you want it to or not." She gathered her equipment and left, promising to return in a few days. Taeho and Vale sat alone in their small room. Outside the window, stars glittered in the endless black. Somewhere out there, forces were moving that would soon hunt them across space. But for now, in this tiny room, a human and a dragon held each other. They talked about names for their child. They talked about the future. They talked about the small ship they would buy someday. For the first time in her life, Vale felt complete. For the first time in his life, Tejo felt like his dreams might actually come true. They were a cleaner and a dragon lady. They were about to become parents, and they were about to change the galaxy forever. The smell of rust and despair filled the air of orbital station Korak 7. Kin Tejo walked through the crowded market with his cleaning cart, looking for salvage parts. He was a sanitation worker, one of the lowest jobs on the station. His uniform was old and stained. His hands were rough from years of hard work. But his eyes were still bright with hope. Tejo was 32 years old. He had lived on this station for 10 years, saving every credit he could. His dream was simple. He wanted to buy a small ship and explore the unknown parts of space. It was a foolish dream for a cleaner, but he held on to it anyway. The market was busy today. Aliens of all shapes and sizes moved between the stalls. Some had 4 arms. Some had scales. Some floated in the air. Humans like Tejo were rare here. Most species looked down on humans. They called them weak, short-lived, and useless. Humans had no psychic powers. They had no claws or fangs. They could not breathe in space or survive extreme temperatures. To the galaxy, humans were nothing special. Tejo did not care what others thought. He kept his head down and did his work. As he pushed his cart through the market, he heard loud voices coming from a side alley. Curiosity made him turn. He followed the sound until he reached a large open area surrounded by metal cages. His stomach turned when he realized where he was. The slave market. Slavery was illegal in most parts of the galaxy, but Korak 7 had no laws. Here, anything could be bought or sold. Tejo had avoided this place for years. He hated everything about it. But something made him stop today. Something made him look at the stage where the auctioneer stood. On the stage was a cage. Inside the cage was the most magnificent creature Tejo had ever seen. She was tall, almost 7 feet. Her body was covered in scales that looked like black glass. 2 curved horns rose from her head like a crown. Her eyes were golden with vertical pupils, like a serpent. A long tail wrapped around her legs. She was a Draconai, one of the dragon people from the far side of the galaxy. Tejo had heard stories about the Draconai. They were proud warriors. Their empire had once ruled 100 worlds, but now they were dying. Their females could not have children anymore. Each generation was smaller than the last. In another 1,000 years, they would be gone. The auctioneer, a fat alien with blue skin and too many teeth, was talking loudly. "Next item," he said with a bored voice. "One Draconai female. Name is Vale, former warrior of the Ember Legion, daughter of House Corvan." He paused and made a face. "But she has problems. Big problems. She is certified sterile by the Galactic Fertility Institute. Cannot have children. Never will. She has also been returned by 3 previous owners for bad behavior." The crowd laughed. There were maybe 20 beings watching. Most were looking at other cages, not interested in the dragon woman. "Starting bid is 100 credits, the auctioneer said. No one raised their hand. 50 credits? Silence. 20 credits? Come on, she is still useful for labor or decoration. Still nothing. The Draconai female, Vale, stood perfectly still in her cage. Her golden eyes swept across the crowd with pure hatred. But Tejo saw something else in those eyes. He saw pain. He saw shame. He saw a person who had lost everything. 10 credits? 5? The auctioneer was getting angry now. She eats barely anything. Very low maintenance. One alien in the back shouted, "She looks like trouble." Who wants a sterile dragon? Worthless. More laughter. Vale's hands gripped the bars of her cage. Her scales seemed to darken with rage. She opened her mouth and spoke. Her voice was deep and rough, like stones grinding together. "I am sterile," she said. "Buy me for what? A decoration? A failed trophy? I was a warrior. I killed enemies that would make you cry like infants. And now I stand here, sold like meat." She spat on the ground. "Do not waste your credits. I will make your lives miserable." The crowd went quiet. Then they started to leave. No one wanted a slave who promised trouble. The auctioneer sighed heavily. "Fine. Final offer. 1 credit. 1 single credit. That is the legal minimum before mandatory termination." He looked at Vale with cold eyes. "If no one buys you for 1 credit, you will be disposed of. Station rules." Vale did not react. She stood tall and proud, ready to die. Tejo felt his heart beating fast. He looked at the dragon woman. He looked at his cleaning cart. He thought about his savings, his dream of buying a ship. 1 credit was nothing. But buying a slave meant responsibility. It meant feeding another mouth. It meant trouble. But he could not watch her die. His hand went up before he could stop himself. 1 credit, he said. Every head turned to look at him. The crowd stared. The auctioneer stared. Even Vale stared. Then the laughter started. "A human?" someone shouted. "A cleaning human bought the dragon? What will he do with her?" "She will eat him for breakfast. Humans are so stupid." "This is the best joke I have heard all year." Tejo ignored them. He walked to the auctioneer and held out his credit chip. The fat alien looked at him like he was insane, but he took the payment. Business was business. "She is yours," the auctioneer said. "Good luck. You will need it." 2 guards opened the cage. They removed the heavy chains from Vale's wrists and ankles, but left a slave collar around her neck. She stepped out slowly, her tail swishing behind her. She was so much taller than Tejo. She could break him in half with 1 hand. She looked down at him with those golden eyes. Her face showed no emotion. "Why?" she asked. Tejo shrugged. "Nobody deserves to die for being broken." Vale blinked. For a moment, her hard expression cracked, just a tiny bit. Then it returned. "You are a fool," she said. "Probably," Tejo agreed. "But now you are a fool's problem. Come on. My quarters are small, but it is better than a cage." He turned and started walking, pushing his cleaning cart. He did not look back to see if she followed. After a few seconds, he heard heavy footsteps behind him. The crowd watched them go. The human cleaner and the dragon lady. It was the strangest sight anyone had seen in years. As they walked through the station's dirty corridors, Tejo could feel Vale's eyes on his back. She was probably thinking of 100 ways to kill him. Or maybe she was thinking of escape. He did not know, but he had made his choice. He had spent his only spare credit on a sterile dragon woman that the whole galaxy considered worthless. Maybe he was a fool. But Tejo had been called worse things before. He kept walking, and the dragon lady followed. Neither of them knew that this single moment would change the future of the entire galaxy. Neither of them knew that the impossible was about to become possible. For now, they were just a cleaner and a slave, walking through the rust and shadows of a lawless station. But the universe had plans for them. Strange, wonderful, impossible plans. And it all started with 1 credit.